My sister was framed and thrown in jail. It was the night before her final hearing. My fiancée, who also happened to be my sister's defense attorney, Vanessa, suddenly hid the key evidence. Before court starts, you have to go beg the plaintiff to drop the charges. Couldn't believe my ears. The evidence is solid. We can win. Why the hell should I beg him? Because the plaintiff is the man I've loved for 10 years. I can't let him lose. And I definitely won't let him carry the stigma of filing a false accusation. Vanessa handed me a bank card. Your sister will get 3 years, max. I'll make sure she lives comfortably inside. There's $2 million on this card. Consider it my compensation to you. Our wedding proceeds as planned, but you have to admit that your sister injured him while drunk. After we're married, I'll spend the rest of my life making it up to you and Sarah. I smashed the glass I was holding onto the floor. Vanessa, you make me sick. Her face darkened. Don't throw a tantrum. Your sister's future is in my hands right now. I slammed the door and left, heading straight for the lead prosecutor on the case. Ms. Lane, I want to turn state's witness. Not only can I prove my sister's innocence, but I also want to personally accuse my fiancée, Vanessa, of obstruction of justice. Mr. Brooke, do you realize what you're saying? Obstruction of justice. Accusing your own defense attorney, who is also your fiancé. This isn't a game. Prosecutor Harper Lane sat behind her desk, her fingertips tapping a steady rhythm on the surface, her scrutinizing gaze fixed on me. I gripped my phone. The recording had just finished playing. I know exactly what I'm saying. I met her eyes. You heard the recording. To protect the plaintiff, Ethan, Vanessa hid the key evidence that proves my sister Sarah's innocence, the complete surveillance footage. She demanded I beg Ethan to drop the suit and admit my sister's guilt in exchange for a 3-year sentence and a $2 million payout. Harper's tapping stopped. She leaned forward slightly. The authenticity of that recording is debatable. Even if it's real, all you have is a proposal she made. She could argue that as a lawyer, after assessing all the risks, she was simply presenting the optimal plea deal for your sister. Optimal deal? I laughed in disbelief. Trading innocence for 3 years in prison? Ms. Lane, you call that optimal? It doesn't matter what I call it, she interrupted. I look at evidence. This key evidence you mentioned, the complete surveillance tape, where is it? Vanessa has it. So you don't have it. Harper leaned back in her chair, drawing her conclusion. Mr. Brooke, I understand your emotions, but the judicial process isn't a stage for you to vent. Without that tape, all your accusations are just talk. She checked her watch. It's getting late. Court opens tomorrow. If you don't have anything substantial, you should go. She was kicking me out. Ms. Lane, I said, Vanessa is a shark. She's meticulous. She never does anything without preparation. She dared to say those things to me because she was certain I had no way out. She calculated that I'd have nowhere to go and would end up begging her. She knows me as well as she knows herself. She knows how much I love my sister and how terrified I am of anything happening to her. Harper's face remained expressionless, but she listened quietly. But she miscalculated one thing. She thought I was just a canary she kept in a cage, clipped the wings, cut off the hope, and I'd be at her mercy. She forgot that even a caged bird will peck if you corner it. I pulled another item from my bag, placed it on the desk, and slid it toward her. It was a voice recorder, an old model. What is this? Harper asked. I snuck into the storage room at Vanessa's firm and dug this out of her old boxes from 3 years ago. I looked at her. Back when she first started, she took a pro bono case. The opposing counsel played her like a fiddle, and she almost lost. Later, she used this exact method. She recorded the opposing lawyer privately inducing an out-of-court settlement, played it in court, and turned defeat into victory. She gave me this recorder once. She called it her badge of justice, the starting point of her career. She said that sometimes, to win, you need to use extraordinary means. Harper's eyebrow finally twitched. She picked up the recorder, weighing it in her hand. So, when she showed her true colors today, I was wearing another gift she gave me, a diamond lapel pin she designed herself. I raised my hand and tapped my chest. The diamond setting on this pin is hollow. There's a micro recording device hidden inside. She had it custom made, said it was to record every beautiful moment of us together. The recording on my phone was just audio. But here, I have the video of her admitting to hiding evidence, demanding perjury, and offering a bribe. I looked her dead in the eye. Ms. Lane, do we have enough evidence now? In the dead silence while waiting for Harper's answer, my thoughts drifted uncontrollably back to 3 years ago. Back then, Vanessa wasn't the elegant, calculating legal shark she is today. She was just a green law school graduate, brought to my house for dinner for the first time by my sister, Sarah. Blake, this is my best friend, Vanessa. She's your senior from school, so look out for her on campus. Sarah grinned, her arm looped casually through Vanessa's. That day, Vanessa was wearing a white shirt that had been washed until it was faded. Standing in our grandiose living room, she looked out of place. She looked at me, her eyes clean and nervous, blushing furiously.
Aki, Junior.
I was a freshman then, arrogant and reckless. I teased her on purpose. Call me Blake. She froze for a second, then obediently whispered, Hi, Blake. Sarah laughed until she doubled over. Vanessa, you're done for. My little brother has you wrapped around his finger already. Later, I learned that her crush on me started that very day. She began appearing in my world frequently. If I had class, she'd save a seat in the room next door, pretending to bump into me. If I was at the library, she'd silently place an iced Americano on the table opposite mine. If I had club activities, she'd be standing not far away, watching me quietly. Everyone saw her feelings but me. I kept playing dumb. Until that pro bono case. She was fighting for a victim of domestic violence against a slippery veteran lawyer. The guy used every dirty trick in the book. Vanessa hit wall after wall. She couldn't eat for days, her mouth covered in stress blisters. I couldn't stand watching it anymore. I used my dad's connections to find evidence of the opposing lawyer's misconduct. Blake, thank you, she said on the phone, her voice raspy with exhaustion. But I can't use it. Why? The guy deserves it. I didn't understand. Because it's procedurally unjust. If I use it, I become just like him, she said stubbornly. I want to win my way, fair and square. Her idealism drove me crazy, but there was nothing I could do. The day before the trial, she suddenly asked to meet me. She handed me that old voice recorder, her eyes shining with an intense light. I won. She told me she had pretended to compromise, met with the lawyer, and recorded the entire conversation where he tried to coerce her client into an unfair settlement. Sometimes, to reach justice, you have to walk a path that isn't entirely lit, she said, looking at me earnestly. Blake, thank you for making me see that. But my bottom line is that I will never hurt an innocent person. That night, she confessed to me. In the riverside breeze, she said, Blake, I've liked you for a long time. I have no money, no background. I can't give you anything right now, but I'll work hard. I'll become the best lawyer and give you the best life. Will you give me a chance? I looked at the stars in her eyes and nodded. After we got together, she worked like her life depended on it. In 3 years, she achieved the partner status most lawyers dream of, becoming a legend in the industry. Our wedding date was set. The dress, the rings, the honeymoon, we chose the best we could afford. When she gave me that lapel pin, she hugged me and said, Blake, I want to record all our happiness so we can watch it slowly when we're old. The day my sister was arrested, Vanessa rushed over immediately, pulling me back from the edge of a breakdown. She held me while I shook, saying firmly, Don't be afraid. I'm here. I promise you Sarah will be fine. I believed her. I pinned all my hopes on her, like a drowning man clutching driftwood. I forgot that water can float a boat, but it can also capsize it. Mr. Brooke? Harper's cold, hard voice yanked me out of the abyss of memory. I snapped back to reality, meeting her probing gaze. Ms. Lane, I have just one question. Go ahead. If I provide all the evidence, take down Vanessa, and prove my sister's innocence. My voice was quiet. Procedurally speaking, what happens to this case? Harper's answer was concise. Vanessa will be investigated for obstruction of justice. Once verified, The district attorney's office will prosecute. Your sister Sarah's case will be remanded for a retrial due to new evidence and significant ineffective assistance of counsel. Retrial. That means there's a chance, I muttered to myself. Yes. But Mr. Brooke, you need to think this through. Harper's eyes were sharp. Once we start this process, there is no turning back. You will face retaliation from your fiancé, the background of this Ethan character, and public pressure. Are you sure you can handle it? I smiled. Ms. Lane, do you think a man who's willing to send his own fiancé to prison has anything left to fear? Right now, I just want to see her lose. Harper didn't say another word. She picked up the lapel pin and stood up. Follow me. I followed her into a tech room and watched as technicians extracted the micro SD card from the pin. When the footage of Vanessa and me facing off in the living room appeared on the screen, my heart still felt a vicious stab of pain. On the screen, Vanessa was beautiful and calm, but every word she spoke was a dagger. Your sister will get 3 years, max. I'll make sure she lives comfortably inside. Our wedding proceeds as planned, but you have to admit that your sister injured him while drunk. Ethan is the man I've loved for 10 years. I can't let him lose. The technicians exported the video and audio, backed it up, and sealed it. Harper handed me a document. This is an application for witness protection if you need it. No need. I shook my head. She thinks I'm scared. I want to show her that I don't care. It was dawn when I left the prosecutor's office. I didn't go home. Instead, I drove straight to Ethan's apartment. It was a high-end condo bought by Vanessa. I had been there with her once. She claimed she was renting it to a distant cousin who needed help. Thinking back on it now, it's laughable. I rang the doorbell. The door opened quickly. When Ethan saw me, he froze for a moment, then put on a smile that was both innocent and provocative. Mr. Brooke? What are you doing here? So early. Are you looking for Vanessa? She's not here, you know. He deliberately stepped aside so I could see a pair of women's slippers in the entryway. Vanessa's size. I'm not looking for her, I said bluntly. I'm looking for you. Looking for me? Ethan covered his mouth, feigning surprise. Whatever for. Mr. Brooke, I know you're upset about Sarah, but you can't take it out on me. I'm a victim too. I'm so scared. His eyes turned red on command, as if I were the villain bullying him. Ethan cut the act. I looked at him, feeling a wave of nausea. Save that performance for Vanessa. It only makes me sick. You? His face changed instantly. The fragility vanished from his eyes, replaced by venom. Blake, what are you so smug about? Do you think you're still the high and mighty prince of the Brooke family? He stepped forward, leaning into my ear. Your sister is going to jail. Your parents' company is on the brink of bankruptcy. They can't even save themselves. As for Vanessa, do you think she actually loves you? The person she's always loved is me. She's only with you because of your family's background. She needed a stepping stone to climb up. Now that your family is finished, what use are you to her? Oh, right. He straightened up, grinning maliciously. Forgot to tell you. Vanessa has already disposed of the evidence that could clear your sister. She said she couldn't bear to let me suffer even a little grievance. Blake, you're a total loser. You can't beat me. I looked at his smug, petty face. Instead of getting angry, I laughed. Is that so? I pulled out my phone and tapped a contact. Guess who I'm on the phone with right now? The smile on Ethan's face froze. The call connected immediately, and I put it on speaker. Hello, Ms. Lane? This is Blake. I'm at Ethan's door. He just personally admitted to me that Vanessa has destroyed the evidence. Yes, I recorded it. You tricked me. The blood drained from Ethan's face. He shrieked and lunged at me, trying to snatch my phone. I took a step back, dodging him easily. Ethan, the game has just begun. Just then, the elevator doors down the hall opened. Vanessa appeared, carrying breakfast from Ethan's favorite spot. She saw me and the frantic Ethan, and her face darkened. Blake, what are you doing here? She rushed over, pulling Ethan behind her, looking at me with extreme disappointment and anger. I warned you not to bother Ethan. Why won't you listen? Ethan immediately hid behind her, eyes rimmed red. Vanessa, I'm so scared. He recorded me. Enough. Vanessa cut him off. Blake, you have disappointed me so much. Do you insist on making this ugly? Ugly? I looked at the couple in front of me and laughed. Vanessa, the truly ugly part hasn't even started yet. Vanessa soothed Ethan by her side, looking at me with blame and impatience. Blake, I told you I would compensate you. Why do you have to be so extreme and come here to hurt Ethan? Hurt? Vanessa, are you blind? From start to finish? Who is hurting whom? Stop being unreasonable. Vanessa's voice rose. Ethan has weak health, he can't handle stress. I will handle your sister's case. Go back home right now. Go home? I sneered. Vanessa, did you forget? Today is the final hearing for my sister. As her defense attorney, you're not at the courthouse, you're bringing breakfast to the plaintiff's house. What is this? You. Vanessa was choked into silence, her face turning an angry shade of pale. Ethan whispered from beside her, Vanessa, don't be mad at Mr. Brooke. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have gotten hurt, I shouldn't have put you in a tough spot. How about we just forget it? I'll drop the suit, as long as Sarah doesn't hurt me again. Predictably, Vanessa protected him even more fiercely. Silly, don't talk nonsense. This isn't your fault. She comforted Ethan, then turned to me with an ultimatum. Blake, I'm giving you one last chance. Go to the court right now. In front of everyone, admit your sister acted out while drunk and ask the judge for leniency. Otherwise, she paused, her eyes full of threat. Otherwise what? I didn't give an inch. Otherwise, you'll make my fiancé personally send my sister to prison in open court? It seems you're determined to go down the hard road. She stopped looking at me and dialed a number on her phone. Lee, execute Plan B. Submit that evidence to the court. My phone vibrated. It was a message from Harper. My team is at the courthouse, but Vanessa just submitted new evidence, a heavily edited video. It looks very bad for your sister. Blake, you forced me to do this. With that, she shielded Ethan, didn't spare me another glance, and turned into the apartment. When I arrived at the courthouse, the trial had already begun. My sister Sarah, wearing a prisoner's uniform, sat in the defendant's dock. In just a few days, she had withered away. Seeing me, she tried to force a comforting smile. Standing opposite her, Vanessa, who should have been defending her, played a video for the court. In the video, my sister, face flushed red and emotional, shoved Ethan hard. Ethan fell to the ground, clutching his arm in pain. The footage cut to black right there. In the complete video, it was clearly Ethan who had smashed a liquor bottle at my sister. First, she only pushed him away while dodging the attack. Vanessa, she actually dared to do it. Your Honor, members of the jury. Vanessa's voice echoed through the courtroom. My client, Sarah Brooke, confesses to the act of inflicting injury while intoxicated. She expresses deep remorse for her actions. What? Sarah shot up from her chair, looking at Vanessa in disbelief. I didn't. When did I admit that? Sarah. Vanessa turned back, giving her a warning glare. Sit down. As her defense counsel, and having synthesized all evidence, the defense concedes that Ms. Brooke's actions constitute intentional injury. However, considering this is her first offense and she has shown repentance, we plead the court for leniency in sentencing. The courtroom erupted. A defense attorney admitting her own client's guilt and asking for sentencing? This was a judicial farce. My sister was shaking with rage, pointing at Vanessa, unable to speak a word. Ethan, sitting in the front row of the gallery, lowered his head at the perfect moment, shoulders trembling, drawing sympathetic looks from the crowd. Vanessa had calculated every step. She used her professional expertise to weave the perfect cage for my sister. And I was the one who had handed her the key. The judge banged the gavel, preparing to announce the verdict. Vanessa turned her head and looked at me in the gallery. Her eyes were calm, even containing a trace of pity. Her lips moved silently. I read them. She said, "Beg him." Just as the judge was about to speak, I used every ounce of strength I had to stand up. Your Honor, I object. Every eye in the court instantly focused on me. Bailiffs immediately moved to stop me. Order. No outbursts from the gallery. Vanessa's expression changed drastically. She stared daggers at me. My sister shouted, "Blake, what are you doing? Sit down." I ignored everyone and looked straight at the judge. "Your Honor, I have evidence proving my sister is innocent. I also want to formally accuse defense attorney Vanessa White of forging evidence and obstruction of justice." As soon as the words left my mouth, the courtroom exploded again. "He's crazy. That man is insane. Accusing his own fiancée? What kind of soap opera is this?" Ethan gasped theatrically, as if terrified. Vanessa shouted sharply, "Blake, have you lost your mind? Bailiff, remove him." Just as the bailiff grabbed my arm. "Let him speak." It was Harper. She stood up from the back row of the gallery, walking forward step by step, and handed a file to the judge. "Your Honor, I am Harper Lane, the lead prosecutor for this jurisdiction. Just moments ago, the prosecution received significant new evidence sufficient to alter the judgment of this case. At the same time, we formally raised serious concerns regarding the professional conduct of defense attorney Ms. Vanessa White." Vanessa swayed slightly. She looked at Harper in disbelief, then at me, her eyes filled with shock and anger. "Ms. Lane, what is the meaning of this?" "The meaning is..." Harper turned to her, eyes cold as ice. "Ms. White, your game is over." The judge, after an urgent conference with the bench, announced a recess. The courtroom doors were sealed. Vanessa, myself, and the core legal teams were kept inside. "Blake, what the hell did you do?" Vanessa stormed up to me, voice lowered, practically grinding her teeth. "What did I do?" I looked back at her calmly. "I simply presented exactly what you said to me and what you did to the prosecutor." "You recorded it?" Realization dawned on her, and her face went pale. "That lapel pin, that's right. I raised my hand to touch the spot where the testament of our love used to be. Vanessa, you taught me. Sometimes to win, you need to use extraordinary means. I learned well. Are you satisfied?" "You?" She trembled with rage, pointing at me. "You plotted against me." "I plotted against you?" I laughed. "Vanessa, who plotted against whom?" "When you treated my sister's future and our years of love as stepping stones for your high school sweetheart. Why didn't you call that a plot?" "He's not what you think." She was still making excuses. "Enough." I didn't want to hear another word. "Vanessa, from the moment you hid that evidence, the only place left for us to meet is in court." "Blake." She reached for my hand. I jerked back, avoiding her touch. "Don't touch me. You make me feel dirty." At that moment, Harper walked over, smoothly stepping between Vanessa and me. "Ms. White, the district attorney's office is formally opening an investigation into your obstruction of justice. Your law license is temporarily suspended pending the investigation. Please cooperate." Vanessa's gaze bypassed Harper, locking onto me. In her eyes, there was shock, anger, and a trace of something I couldn't read. Hurt? Hilarious. Tech support quickly set up equipment in the courtroom. When the complete, unedited video appeared clearly on the big screen, everyone gasped. In the video, Ethan was screaming vicious insults at my sister, dragging our deceased mother into his filth. My sister, pushed to her limit, tried to leave. Ethan grabbed an empty liquor bottle and smashed it toward her head. She dodged sideways and instinctively pushed him away. That was when Ethan fell. The evidence Vanessa submitted started exactly at the second my sister pushed him. The truth was out. The evidence was ironclad. "No, that's not right." Ethan slumped in his chair, face white as a sheet, babbling incoherently. "She swore at me first. She was going to hit me." No one paid attention to his ravings. Everyone's eyes were fixed on Vanessa, whose face was ashen. She was finished. As a lawyer, forging and editing evidence to frame her own client. Her career, everything she was proud of, turned to ash in that instant. The judge announced that Sarah's case would be retried at a later date. Vanessa and Ethan were detained immediately on suspicion of multiple felonies. When the bailiff stepped forward to handcuff Vanessa, she didn't resist. She just lifted her head, looking at me from across the crowd. Her lips moved again, forming another silent shape. This time I had no interest in reading it. I turned around and walked toward my sister. Her eyes were red. Through the railing of the defendant's dock, she gripped my hand tightly. Blake, Sarah. I held her hand back, my voice choking up. It's over. Let's go home. When we left the courthouse, night had fallen. I processed my sister's bail paperwork. She followed behind me, silent the whole way. Once in the car, she finally spoke, her voice hoarse.
Blake, I'm sorry.
Sarah, what are you apologizing for? I started the car, pretending to be relaxed. The person who should be sorry is drinking prison tea right now. If I hadn't been so impulsive. Stop. I cut her off. Sarah, listen to me. You did nothing wrong. Facing that kind of insult and holding back as long as you did? You're practically a saint. If it were me, I would have shown him why flowers are red. I used a silly idiom to try and make her relax. Sarah cracked a small smile, but the shadow in her eyes remained. How did Vanessa turn into this? She whispered. She was my best friend. Yeah. She was also the woman I loved most. I wanted to know the answer too. Silence filled the car again. When we got home, Mom and Dad were waiting at the door. Seeing Sarah, Mom burst into tears, hugging her uncontrollably. Dad patted my sister's back, his eyes red too. It was a delayed reunion. After settling the family, I went back to my room, feeling like all the strength had been drained from my body. My phone vibrated like crazy in my bag. I checked it, dozens of missed calls, all from Vanessa's parents. I turned the phone off. Peace at last. I lay on the bed, staring at the ceiling, my mind a mess. After the rush of revenge faded, all that was left was endless exhaustion and emptiness. A relationship built over 3 years, a woman I thought I'd grow old with, it all turned into a joke. I don't know how much time passed before there was a knock on the door. It was Sarah. She walked in with a glass of hot milk. Drink some. You look pale. I sat up and took the cup. Sarah, are you okay?
I'm fine.
She sat on the edge of my bed. I can't believe it. Blake, you've suffered so much these past few days. She looked at me, her eyes full of heartache. How did you carry all this by yourself? I shook my head, not wanting to talk about it. Sarah, what are you going to do about Vanessa and Ethan? Sarah was silent for a moment. Vanessa obstructed justice, the law will deal with her. As for Ethan, she paused. I'm suing him for defamation and false accusation. Good. I nodded. Our family doesn't let people walk all over us. As we spoke, my burner phone rang. It was a strange number. I hesitated, then answered. A woman's piercing scream came from the other end. Blake Brooke. You bastard. Are you happy now that you've ruined Vanessa? It was Vanessa's mother. I'm telling you, the White family isn't done with you. If anything happens to Vanessa, I'll haunt you from the grave. She cursed wildly, her words venomous. Do you think Vanessa protected Ethan for no reason? Because she's barren. The doctors gave her a death sentence years ago. But Ethan, he can give her a child. He has a son with his ex. As long as Vanessa treats him well, that boy will be the grandson of the White family. And you? Besides dragging her down, what could you give her? My head buzzed as if a bomb had gone off inside it. A child? Ethan has a child? Just to get revenge on Vanessa. You destroyed her only hope. Blake, you're evil. You'll get what's coming to you. I didn't listen to the rest. I hung up. My grip on the milk cup slipped. It hit the floor and shattered. Sarah's face changed instantly. She knelt down to check on me. Blake, are you okay? Did you get cut? I didn't answer. I just stared at the shards on the floor. So that was it. It wasn't just that she couldn't let him lose. She couldn't let her future son carry the burden of a criminal father. So, my sister's future and my love, we were acceptable sacrifices. It felt like a giant hole had been torn in my chest, cold wind rushing through it. Blake? Sarah looked at me with worry. I looked up and smiled at her.
I'm fine, Sarah.
I stood up and grabbed a jacket from the closet. Go to bed early. I have to go out. It's so late. Where are you going? To see someone. To make her feel even more pain. I drove to the detention center. Using some of my dad's connections, I got a meeting with Vanessa in a small visitation room. She was wearing a standard uniform. Her hair had been cut short. In just a few days, she had aged. Deep dark circles hung under her eyes. Seeing me, a spark lit up in her dull eyes. Blake, you came. You finally came to see me. She stood up eagerly, trying to get closer, but the glass separated us. I came to tell you one thing. I looked at her, my voice as calm as a dead lake. Tell me.
I'm listening.
Your plan B was pretty good. Too bad I have one too. I pulled a document from my bag and pressed it against the glass. It was a hospital report. Sarah's report. Vanessa's eyes focused on the paper. Her body jerked, pupils constricting. This is Sarah's? Her voice trembled. It is. I spoke slowly, enunciating every word. While you were forcing me to admit my sister was guilty to protect Ethan and his ready-made son, my sister was pregnant. Vanessa, because of your false accusations and the immense stress of this lawsuit, she miscarried. Just this afternoon, while you were pointing the finger at her in court, you personally killed my unborn nephew. The blood drained from Vanessa's face at a terrifying speed. She stared at that thin piece of paper, lips trembling, unable to form a word. No.
Impossible.
She murmured. Why didn't you tell me? Tell you? I laughed, the sound harsh in the empty room. Tell you so you could force her to get an abortion like you forced her to plead guilty? Or tell you so you could use the child as leverage to make me submit? Vanessa, in your heart beside Ethan and that so-called son, is there anything that can't be sacrificed? I didn't. She shook her head in agony, pressing her palm against the glass as if trying to push through it. Blake, I never wanted to hurt you. I just wanted the best of both worlds. I finished for her. You wanted to save your first love, but you didn't want to give up your wealthy fiancé. You wanted Ethan safe and sound, but you also wanted to sleep soundly at night after my sister took the fall, thinking your compensation made it okay. Vanessa, you aren't stupid. You're greedy. You wanted everything. My gaze drifted to the wall behind her. My voice was as light as a breeze. Too bad. You get nothing. I took back the report and put it in my bag. Vanessa, this is what you owe me. What you owe my sister. What you owe the Brooke family. Now we're even. I turned around, refusing to look at her one last time, and walked toward the door. Behind me came the sound of heavy thuds against the glass and a heart-wrenching scream. Blake, come back. You liar. Come back. I didn't look back. Liar? Who was the real liar here? Walking out of the detention center, the cold night wind hit my face, and I realized my cheeks were wet with tears. Near the road, Harper was leaning against my car door, a cigarette between her fingers, the ember glowing in the dark. Seeing me, she put out the smoke. Done talking?
Yeah.
Going home? I shook my head. Can you walk with me? She didn't speak, just fell into step beside me. We walked along the river for a long time. The river wind messed up my hair and dried the last bit of moisture from my eyes. Are you okay? Harper asked suddenly. I stopped and looked at her sideways. She looked back at me quietly. The end of revenge is usually just emptiness. You used her mistake to manufacture another tragedy to punish her, but you've trapped yourself in the process. I was silent. Blake, she said my name. Look forward. Your life shouldn't just be about getting back at Vanessa. What else can I do? I asked, lost. Do what you should do. Do what you like to do. Leave the guilty to the law and then start your own new life. New life? Did I still have a new life? Vanessa was eventually sentenced to 4 years in prison for obstruction of justice and harboring a criminal. In court, she confessed to everything, including how Ethan had framed another innocent man years ago. It turned out she had asked to meet me that night to give me a USB drive containing evidence of Ethan's past crimes. She claimed she was held hostage by gratitude and tried to outsmart everyone, but ended up losing it all. A man so paranoid and crazy he'd use any means to get what he wanted. And my family and I were just innocent bystanders caught in the blast radius of their absurd drama. That wrongfully accused man, after sitting in jail for 2 years, was finally exonerated and released. Ethan, due to false accusation, attempted intentional injury, and multiple prior offenses, was sentenced to 15 years. He cried his eyes out in court, screaming that Vanessa had ruined his life. Everything settled into dust. The Brooke family returned to its former peace. After recovering at home for a while, Sarah went back to the company, steadier and harder working than before. Mom and Dad smiled more often. Only I seemed stuck in the same place. Quit my job. I stayed home every day, reading, listening to music, or doing nothing at all, just staring into space. Harper came by a few times. She wasn't the cold prosecutor anymore. She'd bring cake I liked or a bunch of sunflowers. She never mentioned Vanessa. She just talked to me or sat with me in silence. "Blake, you need to go out," she said once. "The sun is nice today." I looked out the window and shook my head. I knew I was sick. Psychologically, the betrayal was like a knife that not only severed my love but also cut off my trust in the world. I started fearing intimacy, fearing giving my heart, fearing being hurt again. Sarah was worried about me and took me to a therapist. The doctor said I had PTSD. I needed time and love. Sarah pushed aside her work to be with me every day. She took me hiking, to the beach, to all the places we went as kids. She clumsily learned to tell jokes and cook my favorite dishes. "Blake, look, there are still so many beautiful things in this world," she said, pointing at the sunrise over the ocean. "Don't lock yourself away because of one rotten person." I looked at her profile, lit by the morning sun, and nodded. One day, Sarah's company held a celebration banquet for completing a major project. She dragged me out of the house to go. At the banquet, surrounded by toasts and perfumes, wearing a suit, I felt like an outsider. I didn't fit in. I found a corner to hide in, watching my sister navigate the crowd with ease. She really had grown up. "Alone?" Harper's voice came from beside me. She was wearing a casual suit today, having shed the uniform. She looked less sharp, softer. "Ms. Lane." I raised my glass to her. "You can call me Harper," she said. "Okay, Harper." We fell into silence. After a while, she suddenly asked, "Do you still love her?" I knew who she meant. I shook my head. "No." "Do you hate her?" I thought about it, then shook my head again. "I don't think I hate her anymore either." When I saw her lose everything in court, the hate vanished. All that was left was an indescribable fatigue. "That's good." Harper looked at me earnestly. "Blake, forget the past. Let yourself off the hook." "I'm trying," I said. Halfway through the party, Sarah went on stage to speak. She thanked the employees, thanked the partners. Finally, her eyes landed on me. "Today, the person I want to thank most is my brother, Blake. In the darkest moment of my life, he was the one who held everything up alone and got justice for me. He is the most important person in my life." Her eyes reddened as she spoke. Thunderous applause filled the room. Looking at my sister on stage, my eyes welled up too. I hadn't told anyone, not even Sarah. Those words I said to Vanessa in the visitation room were a lie. I forged that miscarriage report. I just wanted her to taste what it felt like to lose the most important thing. But I never expected that on the day of the final verdict, Vanessa's lawyer would find me. He gave me a letter. In it, Vanessa wrote down the whole truth, a version completely different from what her mother had screamed at me. She wasn't infertile. Ethan had tricked her with a forged medical report from overseas, making her believe she couldn't have children. Ethan's mother had been a benefactor to the White family, so Vanessa had always looked out for them. When she fell into despair over being barren, Ethan swooped in, claiming he had a son he could have her adopt to carry on her family line. She believed him. To repay a debt of gratitude, and for that false hope, she walked step by step into Ethan's trap until she was in too deep. At the end of the letter, she wrote, "Blake, I don't ask for your forgiveness. I just want you to know that from beginning to end, the only person I ever loved was you. My feelings for you were real. The moments recorded in that pin were real. If I could do it all over again, I'd wish we never met in that living room. I'm sorry." After the party, Harper drove me home. Halfway there, she stopped by the river, the same place we walked that night. "Blake." She unbuckled her seatbelt and turned to me. "I know saying this now might be bad timing, But I don't want to wait anymore. She pulled a small box from her pocket and opened it. Inside wasn't a ring, but a key. A very ordinary house key. This is the key to my place. She looked at me, her eyes filled with a gentleness and nervousness I'd never seen before. I don't want to see you staying in that empty house alone anymore. I don't want to watch you from the window. I want to walk into your world, pull open the curtains, and let the sun inside. Blake, I know you're hurt. I know you're scared. It's okay. We can take it slow. You don't have to love me, but please, give me a chance to love you. I looked at the key in her hand, then at the stars in her eyes. That light was very similar to the look in Vanessa's eyes when she confessed to me years ago, but also completely different. Vanessa's light was the ambition and desire that burned herself up. Harper's light was the warmth and steadiness that wanted to illuminate someone else. I reached out, and under her expectant gaze, I slowly closed the box. Harper, I whispered, watching the light in her eyes dim instantly. This is too fast for us. Harper's shoulders slumped. She pulled her hand back, a disappointment on her face I'd never seen. I'm sorry. I was too impatient. It's okay. Pretend I never said it. But I interrupted, catching her eyes as she looked up. I think we can start as friends. I took the box from her hand, opened it, took out the key, and weighed it in my palm. For example, as a friend, going to your place to mooch a meal shouldn't be crossing the line, right? Harper froze. She stared at me blankly for a few seconds before realizing what I meant. Pure joy lit up her eyes instantly. Not at all. Not crossing the line at all. She was so excited she started rambling. What do you want to eat? I can cook anything. I'll go buy groceries right now. Watching her fumble to start the car, I couldn't help but laugh. It was the first time in a long time that I laughed from the heart. Turns out, opening the curtains isn't that hard. You just need a little bit of courage. Harper and I really started as friends. She never mentioned love or being together again. She just stayed by my side like a true friend. She took me to farmers' markets, teaching me how to tell which fish were freshest. She took me hiking on trails, showing me which plants could be used as medicine. She took me to symphonies, and I accompanied her to watch boring soap operas. In a silent, nurturing way, bit by bit, she pulled me out of my shell and back into the world of the living. My life started to have color again. I found a new job, not through family connections, but on my own merit, working legal at a foreign firm. It was busy, but fulfilling. Sarah's company was on the right track, doing even better than before. Everything was getting better. A year later, Sarah got married. The groom was her college classmate, a cheerful and reliable guy. At the wedding, as family, I went up to give a speech. I looked down at the happy smiles of Sarah and her husband, at the relieved looks in my parents' eyes, and saw Harper in the crowd watching me. She was smiling too, her eyes full of blessings and warmth. In that moment, I suddenly felt that I had truly moved on. After the wedding, I went home with Harper. Congratulations, she said. Congratulations to you too, I said. Congratulations for what? She paused. I took the small key box out of my pocket and handed it to her. Her expression froze. Blake, you, open it. Her hands trembling, she opened the box. Inside, beside the key she gave me, lay another one. It was the key to my house. Harper, I looked at her earnestly. We've been friends for a year. I think we can take a step forward. Like becoming the kind of relationship where we exchange house keys. She looked at the two keys lying side by side on the velvet, and her eyes instantly turned red. This woman, who commanded the courtroom and made criminals tremble, stood there crying like a child, too emotional to speak. She hugged me, holding on tight, as if trying to merge me into her very bones. Blake. Her voice was muffled in my shoulder, thick with emotion. Thank you. I reached out and hugged her back. No, I should be thanking you. Thank you for reaching out when I fell into the abyss. Thank you for patiently walking with me through the darkest road. Thank you for making me believe again that there is still light in this world. A few months later, I saw news about Vanessa. She had behaved well in prison and received a sentence reduction. The report included a recent photo. She was much thinner, much older. The high-spirited arrogance between her brows was gone. I heard her parents sold their assets to pay off the debts from her lawsuits and moved out of the city. I closed the news app. My phone rang. It was Harper. Off work yet?
I'm downstairs.
Coming. I packed my things and walked out of the office building. Harper's car was parked by the curb. She was leaning against the door, the sunset bathing her in a warm, golden outline. Seeing me, she smiled. I opened my arms to her. She ran toward me, crashing into my embrace with warmth. Everything in the past was just the prologue. My brand new life was just beginning.